Hello, Martin. Can you hear us? There you are. All right.
I hear you. I don't see you.
Okay. That's good. You're good. All right. We've now been joined by Martin Truex Jr. If you have a question for Martin, go ahead and continue to raise your hand. And to kick us off, we're going to start with Jeff Gluck. Jeff, go ahead with your question for Martin.
Martin, there's so much parity today. I mean, with Busher running up front for a while and McDowell and just a lot of different names. Why do you think that was?
Yeah, I think the rules have been the same for a while, Jeff. And, everybody's had all off season to, kind of work on their stuff and understand where they were last year. And a lot of people obviously made some good decisions on how to get better. So, definitely seen a lot of guys running up front today that we don't see. But I think it's just, the box that we work in is so small, and the longer we have the same rules package, the closer everybody's going to get.
Okay, for our next question, we are going to go to Matt Weaver. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey there. A question for you, Martin. Thank you for making time, by the way. It's just the transition from day race to night race. We saw basically two different races. So kind of twofold. One, how challenging is that to give the feedback to your guys that they need to get your car right for both? And then two, just behind the wheel, how does the dynamic change from the first two stages to the second?
Yeah, it's definitely a big change here, and it's something that we've done here for a long time. So it's not like it's a big surprise, and we kind of try to prepare for it the best we can. And sometimes you hit it right, sometimes you don't. I think for us today, it was we were pretty good all day long. Our worst run was the first one, and I felt like we were pretty good throughout the whole race. And honestly, the hardest, given the feedback. Can you mute them so I don't hear? I can't hear. I'm hearing all kinds of different stuff. Mute.
Yes, we will mute them.
Anyway,
go ahead.
Honestly, it's really easy to give the feedback. That's not difficult. I think the hardest part is just, your guys figuring out how to make those decisions and just being able to stay ahead of the track because it's changing constantly. So it's definitely difficult. We were really strong through the middle part of the race, and then that very last run, we got off a little bit, and we had to make a few adjustments there, and we just missed it a little. So that's the way it goes. But it's definitely tough to stay ahead of it.
Thank you. And by the way, same question for Michael since he's on the line now. The transition from day race to night race, it was virtually two different races. So one, what is that like behind the wheel as the track changes? And then two, as you're giving feedback to Blickensderfer about what you need, how much of a challenge is it to time it right, to make sure the changes are as the track changes?
Yeah, I think that one thing that is kind of helped us with that is, bringing the same tire in the same package back to the racetrack. Last year we had that lightning strike here, and transition from day to night. So we sort of had in our notes, what happened when it cooled off and what our balance needed to be, and not to over adjust when it came to that time. So I felt like we had a good game plan, pre-race going into it. And then Drew and I talked about it on the radio, when the sun started to go down and the clouds were kind of blocking the sun, where my balance was at and what we needed to do so that we could, stay in front of it. We sort of knew that after, halfway, once it makes its kind of transition, it doesn't change much after that. So we felt like we were ahead of it a little bit tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, as Matt mentioned, we have both Martin and Michael McDowell on the line. So please feel free to ask a question to both of them. Our next question will come from Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin.
Thank you. Michael, what were you able to do tonight that maybe you haven't been able to do as often on the 1.5 miles with your team? Obviously, really strong finish performance tonight. What was so different from past times on 1.5 miles for this organization?
Yeah, I think that, it's been a kind of a steady progress. Homestead last year for us was a big step forward. We ran in the top 15 most of the night. I think we ended up finishing 15th, but we felt like we were pretty close to being, in that top 10 speed. When you get to 15th, those next few spots are pretty hard, but we felt like we were pretty close on it. And like I said, I think one of the biggest things for us is there hasn't been a tremendous amount of development, right? Not new chassis, new parts, new pieces. Like we used to fall so far behind that now I feel like we were able to build on what we've had in the past and make our cars a little bit better each time we come to the racetrack without changing all the fundamental pieces and kind of starting over and having to re-engineer everything. So it's kind of simplified the process for us a little bit, just to keep building on what we have and keep trying to make it better. But what an incredible run for our front row team. I mean, it's so exciting to be a part of this organization. And I mean, we're really doing it, and it's fun to be a part of it right now. And I'm so thankful that I get to drive it. I mean, I didn't do anything different tonight as far as me. I didn't come with a different approach of how I was going to drive it. I just did what I normally do, and we were fast. So really thankful we had a strong car tonight.
And also, how significant is a night like this for front row? I mean, obviously, you can't take away from the Daytona 500. I'm not trying to compare that, but just to have this type of performance on a mile and a half and be as strong throughout the evening.
I think that this is a really big thing for us. I mean, the Daytona 500 is huge, right? You're not going to replace that. But the fact that we're legitimately running in the top 10, not just here, but at the road course last week too. We overcame a lot of issues last week and really raced our way back into the top 10. And, to start the season with 3 top 10s on 3 very different racetracks, Daytona, like I said, everybody knows that anything can happen there. But, I'm very, proud of my race team. I mean, we have done a great job of making big gains. I mean, to be running down Kevin Harvick with 5 laps to go for a top 5, that's stinking awesome for us to even be in that sentence conversation. It just shows how much hard work everyone's done at front row, and it's just awesome right now.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Martin, when you were thinking about who you were going to challenge for the win today, was William Byron on the list? He hadn't necessarily been all that great at Homestead or mile and a halfs in Cup.
Honestly, Bob, when you go to the racetrack, you really don't worry about who you're going to be racing. You worry about yourself and how can you be the best you can be. So obviously, pretty early in the race, we knew that, he was pretty strong, and it seemed like in general, the Hendrick cars were all pretty strong at times. So not surprising, those guys are, doing a good job. Their cars have been fast, and not, I guess you don't really worry about it, Bob. You just kind of worry about your own stuff and how can you, how we can do the best we can. I really don't care who we're racing for the wins, but it was nice to be up front today and have a good day.
So do you feel good about where Gibbs is after today compared to everybody else?
Yeah, I thought our car was pretty good. I felt like on the long runs, we had the dominant car through the, late in the first stage through till about early in the third stage. And then, really that last long run, we kind of got off a bit. So I don't know, we hit it pretty good, I thought, balance wise today, and made good adjustments and still weren't quite fast enough to win. So I'd say, maybe we need to be better. I didn't really race around our teammates very much. And usually they're, typically we're all kind of around each other, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, probably got a little bit of work to do, but we'll get to work on that tomorrow and hear how everybody else fared. And, it's tough. There's not a whole lot you can do right now. So it's all about just getting the setup right. And tonight we got it pretty close.
Okay, our next question will come from Jordan Bianchi. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yes, this question's for Michael. Michael, before the season, someone had told you were going to start the season with 3 straight top 10 finishes. What would you have said?
That they're crazy. I think that we are realistic about, where we finished the year and where we wanted to be. And we thought that we were, in that 15th to 20th range, pretty consistent last year. So to make, a big jump like we did, I wouldn't say that it's a complete, unbelievable shock, but it's pretty close to it. I mean, we have definitely outperformed where we thought we'd be, especially at a mile and a half. These places, especially these slick places, are, really tough for the smaller teams. I think that, but at the same time, we had a good run here last year and something to build on. So, we came back and made some improvements, and yeah, we kind of shocked ourselves.
Okay, our next question will come from Mark Guerra with PRN. Go ahead, Mark.
I have one for Martin and one for Michael. Martin, given what's happened at the beginning of the year, you talked a moment ago about, the rules being how they are, everything's kind of locked in and everybody's kind of catching up. Do you see, from what we've seen at the start of this season, that we're in for something maybe unusual with the parity being at a level that there's never been before, or at a level we haven't seen in a while?
Well, I think so far we are, and I think so far we've seen, a great sign of that. 2 new winners in the first 2 races, and then, a young guy wins tonight, and talking to Michael or listening to Michael talk, how good they ran. So, yeah, I mean, it's, the rules are the rules, and they haven't changed in a while, and everybody's, really just trying to work on the same things here, each and every week, so it gives you time to work on your stuff and, not have to really develop a lot of things. And, the smaller teams definitely get to catch up. So, we'll see if it continues. I still think strong teams will end up being the teams to beat when it all is said and done. And, I feel like for us in particular on the 19, we've been really strong all year. We've been really fast. We had some, some tough breaks in Daytona, and then we were in the hunt today. So we're feeling good about things, and hopefully we can just continue to, find some stuff to get better and keep running up front.
And Michael, I mean, do you see this kind of parity continuing? And now that you've had 3 top 10s in a row, I mean, is it no longer a fluke now if you guys run again in the top 10?
I agree with Martin that it definitely has closed the gap, but the best teams and the top teams will always be the top teams. I mean, they just consistently do it just a tad better, pit road, execution, lighter, faster, more downforce. So, we'll just take it as it goes. I mean, the one thing about this 34 team is we race our guts out. And if we have a 25th place car, we're going to race our guts out and finish 23rd. And if we got a 10th place car, we're going to race our guts out and finish 8th. So, we just come into it with an open mind of just doing everything we can to get the most we can. And, obviously if we keep this streak going and 10 races from now, we're still running the top 10, I'll probably feel a little bit different about it. I'd tell you, yeah, we're definitely going to do this every week. But, right now we're going to take it one week at a time and just keep fighting hard and see what the season brings.
Thank you.
All right, for Michael and Martin, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you the best of luck next weekend.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
and to
guys.
all of you who have joined us here as well.